way that is leading to State House, and we can see this is the, what do you normally call this track? The water. Yeah. Yeah. No. What? Yeah. That particular track. I'll get the name. So this police are actually making sure that they're having people who are having good motives not heading that particular road this morning. And we'll give you details of what is happening so far. We had Emmanuel Toh bringing us to speed as far as security is concerned, also on inside the CBD. We saw it's a slow burn, people just going about their lives, people of every stripe going about their businesses, going to work. And we'll be also talking to Jeff Kirui momentarily just to give us a feel and flavor, or he's in State House. And you can see also there's a car being turned away. He cannot really get access on the processional way. Jeff Kirui, if you may, just give me a feel and flavor so far also what is happening at State House today. Are you experiencing and seeing a lot of gaggle and contingent of police officers and security presence there?
Well, a very good morning, Dibal, indeed. Right now we are at State House Avenue. The pictures you're seeing live on the screen are from State House Avenue. Police have actually cordoned off the areas and the roads surrounding State House in Nairobi. And we've made a spot check around the State House area, and very few vehicles are actually being allowed, mostly those who are working along the State House road and within the vicinity. But the anti-riot police unit have been deployed. Outside the State House gate, we actually managed to see a lorry, a contingent of police officers, the anti-riot police, as well as 2 water cannon, the anti-riot vehicles that are normally used to disperse crowds. So it appears like this area has been cordoned off. Police, of course, erecting roadblocks here, checking each and every person who is making his way to the State House area, the area surrounding this place. Of course, there is also another roadblock around the roundabout of Dennis Street and State House Road. So no vehicles are coming from the other side of Dennis Street Road to join the State House Road. Remember, Azimio leader Raila Odinga had said that they are going to make a procession, but there was confusion following that interview that he had on Saturday with several media houses, saying that they are going to send representatives only yesterday to take an about turn and say they are going to converge at KICC and make a procession, a peaceful procession to State House. And remember, State House is one of the protected areas as part of the Protected Areas Act. Other areas include the State House Mombasa, State House Nairobi, state lodges, that is Nakuru, Eldoret, Sagana. So this being a protected area, probably the police will ensure that no kind or any other kind of procession or demonstration or demonstrators will actually access this area. So it appears like if the Azimio leaders and their supporters of course, or rather stick to their plan, then it appears like there is going to be a confrontation between police officers and the supporters. But we wait to see what actually will transpire as the day goes by. Dibal.
Yes, indeed. We keep our eyes peeled and keep out our ears to listen in to what is happening currently. As you can just see Jeff Kirui informing us, this is State House Road, and there is inspection. You're bound to be affected adversely if you're going to work this morning with a glacial slowness of the traffic due to the inspection that is happening there. So you might be advised, maybe you want to take another route as well so that you're not affected. And anti-riot cops as well. They've been deployed around KICC and other strategic areas in the city where Azimio protesters plan to convene. We have Grace Nganga, who she's holding, of course, fought for us there at Processional Way, and Emmanuel Toh was earlier at Tomboya Street, and now we have Jeff Kirui from Status as well. We shall be beaming these live pictures for you so that you can get feel and flavor of what is happening and be advised on what routes to take. And the same is happening also to other leading roads in Kisumu, Nakuru and Mombasa ahead of these demonstrations today. And I'm holding court with Esther Passaris, Farah Malim, Kipruto Rapkirwa, and Hilary Sigay. Before we just took a short break, Esther, we were coming to you, and we heard from Farah, really frustrated. Maybe it's a hang-up from history, and a festering wound that needs to be addressed in regard to, you know, the political life of Raila Odinga. All I'm hearing is conmanship. All I'm hearing is political chicanery. All I'm hearing is personal interest. It's not really coming from the deepest recesses of the heart that a person wants to be for the welfare of Wananchi, but it's all about him.
Okay, I mean, for me, I think a lot of the benefits and the good that we enjoy in our country, we can credit Raila, all right? I mean, just devolution alone, the new constitution, multi-party democracy, freedom of speech, and now electoral justice, okay? And then he's also taken the issue of food, because food is an important issue. Corruption. There is nothing we're going to attain as a country if we do not deal with corruption. And it has to be dealt with everywhere. So for me, I feel that right now, Kenyans are asking, how do I get a job? How do I pay my medical bills? How do I feed my family? How do I take my kids to school? How do I live peacefully with dignity? Those are the questions that Kenyans want answered. And once we get that right, then we can talk about everything else. And that's what we need to get right. So we also need to get right as we get towards the election, the electoral processes. Now, right now, the chant is Ruto must go, all right? For me, I feel that that chant cannot be ignored by the president, neither can it be ignored by his government. Because if he wants to come back in 2027, if that's his aim, then remember, if that is not going to be silenced because he's delivering services to the people, it will get louder and louder and louder. And by 2027, he will hear nothing else but Ruto must go. Okay? Because even the people who were in Kenya Kwanza, there is a majority of people in Kenya Kwanza who are also feeling frustrated right now because they were also people who were promised. All right, and they are also the people that come to the people's dialogue because they're saying, you know what, he promised us food, affordable prices, he promised us jobs, he promised us the hustler fund which is now a loan. All right, you know, I feel that at the end of the day, any government that is going to come into place has to deliver to its people. And if you want to deliver to your people, corruption has to be addressed. So for me, I feel that dialogue with the opposition leader is a good thing. Raila cannot be ignored, not because he's the current opposition leader, but he cannot be ignored because he has a following and he has done good for this country. So I feel that every time I hear the insults levied against Raila, the way we address him, you know, with disrespect, that is not going to do good for your government. All right, the Kenya Kwanza government. The Kenya Kwanza government has to start from, and you know, especially when they talk about being Christian, you know, it is so unchristian to do what they do sometimes. So on the one hand, they're in church. On the other hand, they come out with such venom. That is so unchristian. So you can't say that, oh, we want the church to make Kenyans a God-fearing country. If you're a God-fearing person, right, then you sit with your enemy. All right, your perceived enemy, and you find a way to serve the people. A husband and wife will have to sometimes agree to disagree for the benefit of the children, and that's what they need to do. They need to sit and discuss. And how can Raila sit and discuss anything with Ruto when every time he opens his mouth, he says he wants a handshake, we're not going to give him a handshake? Baba doesn't want a handshake. Baba doesn't need a handshake.
But we've seen that he's open to now dialogue. If anything, is to go by what the Daily Nation has for us, that it says that Ruto backs talks as Raila protest starts. Are we seeing maybe throwing right now that there's going to be dialogue?
I heard what the president said. He said he's willing to talk, but he will not be pushed. Okay, so that's the ego speaking. All right, he is being pushed for talks because he never called for talks. All right, now this is the difference between the Tanzanian president and him. The Tanzanian president saw that her predecessor was trying to weaken the opposition and did everything to weaken the opposition. Right? She's saying, you know what? I will give you your space. I will respect your points of view. We will work together to deliver for Tanzanians. We need to work together to deliver for Kenyans because it's a time bomb. People need services. People need to feel ownership of this country. People need to be able able to sustain themselves. And if we can do that, let's do it with dialogue. Because don't forget, you're the president of the entire country. I did tell Ruto once in a function that, you know, I never voted for you, but you're my president. So when I come and I ask for services, I expect to be served so that I can deliver for my people, which includes the people who voted for Raila and the people who voted for him and the people who didn't vote at all. So let us forget the chest thumping. You've won. You're declared the president. You've been sworn in. You're in office. But there are certain things that I think the wisdom and the experience of Raila will be invaluable for him, and he should respect that.
Invaluable for him in what sense then? In what framework? Because this is a political sleight of hand that is being played by Raila Odinga here. On the other hand, you're denying that you're not really seeking for any dialogue at all.
Yeah. He sees them as invaluable, but they are valuable.
Looking at the scheme, looking at all these demonstrations and the plotting and the plotting that is going on is all leading up to one attention seeking. And of course, you cannot have attention seeking if you don't have dialogue. No. You must actually dialogue at the end of the day. So could we say furtively, Raila Odinga is seeking for a dialogue, which he stoutly denies, but in the deepest places in his heart, he knows he's seeking for dialogue.
Let me tell you what, I don't think if Ruto and Raila never sit down to talk, but you can see immediately after Raila was talking about the gas prices, right? Ruto was in Mombasa saying gas prices, I'm going to do this, and bringing them down, all right? There is an obvious perception that, the Kenya Kwanza government is trying as much as possible to destroy its opponents in terms of their business empires, etc. So for me, that they will have to deal with on their own, but that should not be the way a government operates. A government should look at, this one said the gas prices are low, what can we do to make the gas prices come down? The food prices, what can we do? I feel, in all fairness, 5 months is probably a very short period, but then going by what you promised, having been in government for 10 years, you knew what was going on. Tell me about the 50 billion that was stolen. That is not the reason why the prices of food is high. 50 billion is a big amount, and we need explanation on who stole it and where it went, but that's not the reason why the economy is bad.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's hear from Hillary. Are we seeing a happy medium here when Ruto talks about, the prospects of a dialogue? That now he's actually rowing back from what he was saying. There will be no handshake. Will not even experience any sort of talks with Raila. Maybe over a cup of coffee. Can it begin over there?
Well,
over a cup of coffee.
When he says that I need a structured dialogue and I would be available for such a dialogue, he's just like any other leader opening a window for a conversation. Mm-hmm. But the problem is what I said earlier on the ball. Mm-hmm. We do not know why Raila is in the streets, other than the fact that he wants a handshake to benefit himself, not the people of Kenya. I will, for the longest, disagree with my colleague here, Esther Passaris, that Raila is in this thing for the interest of the Kenyans. Never. Mm-hmm. He's selfish. He wants to benefit. He wants the Raila Odinga, the person, to be there. We're talking about young men and women going to the streets when his family are comfortable. His daughter is in East Africa simply. Why not other Kenyans? Why use these people? So the president says, if we want to talk, it's about a structured dialogue. But then again, conditional in the sense that we are not talking because you need a handshake. We should be talking because we want to speak about the interests of the people of Kenya. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem, and the reason why we are talking about this thing is not objective, is even, look what happened in Kisumu. Owalo, Chiloba, very structured government engagement with the people of Kisumu. Young men and women are told, this is public money, you go and eat. And they destroy property, they chase away leaders. What sort of show are we giving them? So even if it were to be a window for dialogue, it's going to happen. And that is why we are saying, if today Raila were to come and say, look, we want to have a conversation, and Mr. President, this is the memorandum that we have. We are submitting this to you. Look at the issues that we have. Let us commence there. You see, it is a beginning of something, but this one is not in any way
Esther Passaris is burning to
Okay,
interject.
hold on.
Let's-
You know,
I can
English
see.
is not your mother tongue for sure. I think you were looking for selfless, not selfish. Raila is selfless, not selfish. Everything he does,
I know, so
everything
you'll
he does
you'll
is
turn
for
the
this
English to your
country.
favor.
No, no. I mean, yeah, he said selfish. I mean, the one thing.
and
Let me
I
tell
would
you
actually
something.
still
Pastor, let me
insist
tell you, I
Yeah.
am scared. I am scared of demonstrations. Raila will go there and demonstrate for the people. He will take the bullet for this country. He has given up his own. He was elected president, and it was taken from him. When he took the Nusum Kate, it wasn't about the fact that he wasn't the president. He was the president when he swore himself in Uhuru Park, and then he sat down with Uhuru to discuss how we're going to work together. It was because there was already a problem between Uhuru and his deputy. At the end of the day, Raila will do anything and everything possible to make sure that this country progresses. And right now, electoral injustice is what he wants to fight for, and he has every right to do that because he has suffered the consequences of an electoral body that cannot deliver free, fair, credible elections. The judiciary, radical surgery in the judiciary as well. I mean, at the end of the day,
back to Sige.
remember the word.
It is
It
your
is
word.
selfless, not selfish.
No, not selfish.
It is selfish. English is my second language. My mother language is English, but I know very well.
Yes.
It is all about selfish.
Welcome to you, Farah.
What conversations we have had behind the screen, and what everybody knows, including the Honorable Esther Passaris, is that he is in there because he wants a comfort zone to benefit
He is
himself.
comfortable
And
where he is.
He's not
Of
comfortable.
course
He
he
could not have
is.
been.
He's not looking
it's
for a
only that you're not
handshake.
being candid.
He's not looking for a handshake.
He has
He's
said it
looking
as
for
much,
delivery
Esther.
of services
He has said it
for.
as much.
No, Raila has not spoken.
He has been in the
To who has he
handshake
spoken?
government. He
Yep.
has been in the handshake
And the
government for
handshake
5
government
years.
gave
And
us
we
stability.
saw what
Give
happened.
Give him chance.
We saw what happened in the handshake government. The first 5 years of Ruto Uhuru presidency, we had a 4-pillar program, 4 agenda items that we had begun working on. It had begun bearing some fruit. Immediately the handshake story came in. We forgot about it. Even the president himself forgot about it. And when Farah Malim says that Raila talked about a drunk president and a thief who was the conductor, that was the Raila. When he got into that bus, he became the thief who was stealing. We retain a drunk driver. And that is why we are in the government.
I think we don't have any scrap of proof regarding the thief.
No,
the
but the story is...
That is the narrative. That is the narrative.
We cannot really anchor our talk
Can I say something?
on fallacies.
That is the narrative.
Yeah.
Can I say
No.
something?
Let me come to Honorable Kiro. We'll come to you, Farah Mali.
Kiro, hey, madam.
Kiro, I want you to respond first of all to the fact that Raila is a political problem in this country. You've worked with him.
Yes.
These are sentiments that I'd raised earlier. It's not been responded to by all of you. Is he a problem? Musela will say he's a problem. Ruto now says he's a problem in this country. If we took out Raila from the political scenario right now, do you think we'll have a peaceful country? And who will be the voice for the opposition?
Okay. The ministers together in Kibaki, I agree with you.
Yes.
They work together.
Yes, and we were in parliament together for 15 years, having joined me in 1992. So I just wanted to say the problem with Kenya is the same problem with Africa, a lack of effective leadership. Why do I say so? If President William Ruto wanted to be the leader of Kenya and to rise to the occasion, he would not have started by cannibalizing parties. The first assignment he did was to rein in UDM, which was principally Northern Frontier political outfit, and he's been cannibalizing all other political parties. When he goes to church, they talk about Raila more than about Jesus Christ.
I tell you.
Number 3. So, number 3, the issues that Farah Malim has been raising about Raila, some of the issues may be true.
Yes.
But there is something that fundamentally that I can say and I can attest, given the fact that I was a player. The 2005 referendum was the point of departure between Raila and Kibaki.
Yes.
And it was not.
It was much earlier.
No.
As soon as Kibaki was sworn in, he started having problem, even accessing his state house. You remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I was a minister. And when Kibaki...
The ones who are...
Okay, can we just let Kiro finish? I think you're interrupting this track of thought.
Yes.
You know, Farah Maalim wants to even say the story. He was there, but he was not in the cabinet.
Farah is a bit antsy today. You know, he was really...
you know, what happened is that immediately after elections, there was a problem.
Yeah.
What we consider as Mount Kenya Mafia.
Yeah.
They wanted to exclude everybody, but I was a good boy.
Yeah.
So I used to see the president even when he was unwell. That is a statement of a fact. But then, when appointments were being done, or I think it was June of the same year, Raila's group was shortchanged.
Completely.
Because even from the appointment of ministers, there were 2 ministers from the backyard of Raila who were included in the cabinet, who should not have been in the cabinet. Yes. I don't want to name names. Therefore, Raila was provoked.
Go ahead.
Don't mention it. You said it.
Yeah, I have not mentioned them.
Not mentioned.
So the issue is that at times Raila is provoked into action, and when he acts, people start crying foul. 2005 referendum, we passed in the cabinet a document that we believed was going to be the best document for us, and it was going to be a referendum without contestation. But some guys went to Kilifi and started amending the same draft we had passed in the cabinet. And we saw it from government printer. Even some of us did not read. And that is why Raila decided to go orange, and we remained bananas. And we were beaten thoroughly by Raila.
By Kenyans. I was there. By Kenyans. Not Raila, Kenyans.
Raila was the captain. Raila was the captain.
So give credit to
and
Raila.
He led that team, and we were beaten thoroughly. I was part of the team that was beaten. And that was the formation of ODM. And that's how William Ruto ended in ODM as one of the captains. And William Ruto did not go to ODM because he was willing. It is the people of Rift Valley.
Yes.
We had already preceded him.
I agree with you.
And had gone down towards Kisumu. That's what he was told. He followed them. And the clever fellow that is, he was able to manipulate and lead them and destroy some of his colleagues, including Henry Koskei, Franklin Bate, and the rest.
Sally
Koskei. So this is the truth about Raila. So at times we condemn him because it is convenient to personalize. The fact that the daughter is in East Africa, what Senator Sigei said, it is not criminal. Esther Passaris is the women of Nairobi. Her children can decide to run for MCA or any other office. Why do we demonize Raila?
By the way, I voted for Winnie Odinga. I voted.
But you say that she's in East Africa.
I'm saying because of the fact that we are abusing the intelligence of Kenyans, asking them to go to the streets instead of going to work to serve the nation and serve their families.
But you know, Senator Siged never listened to me at the beginning. What I was saying that this space Raila has been invited because William Ruto is trying to destroy the opposition. And Raila is fighting back for that space of democracy.
Yeah, we'll look into
he
that.
He may not be the beneficiary at the end of the day.
The super UDA that is being created currently, swallowing a lot of these MPs as well. And listening to Farah, I wonder if Farah also is being swallowed bit by bit. I don't know.
Farah is consumed by bitterness with the Uhuru regime. That bitterness is now spilling over to Raila because Raila was accused of being part of that government.
I will tell you exactly. Kirwa. By the way, this is one young man I have enormous respect for. Personally, let me tell you something. We have been through this for a very long time ourselves. Raila is adept and accomplished in shortchanging people. He was also shortchanged on a number of occasions. I'll give you just one simple example. Raila, when there was LDP, Saitoti was under the impression that Raila is going to push him for the presidency. Let me tell you one thing. Kalonzo Musyoka was under the impression that he was going to be pushed for that. Because he was one of the very likable guys. Nyachai was promised completely point blank and gave a lot of money, including the cost of that day's Uhuru Park rally.
Was bankrolled by Nyachai.
Yes. I tried to tell Nyachai, because we are together in the Kenya People's Coalition, you are being shortchanged. He almost slapped me. What are you talking about? You, my son. I mean, his father and my father, who is very old now, in his 90s, are friends. So I had a very personal friendship with Nyachai. Matiangi was our man, Mutia Mkono, yakutusaidia mimi na Raila, na Nyachai. I told them, and when Nyachai told me, Matiangi told me, no, Farah, I don't know where you people are getting this thing. Charles is with me. Charles is telling them, why don't we listen to Farah? Nyachai akasema, hapana, wewe ndio unaharibu maneno. I said, okay. We signed that contract there and then. 2 hours later, I was in the summit myself, but I joined the summit later when I pulled out. Nyachai was sitting next to me, we were on the front row there. When Raila said, si mnajua Kibaki ndio, si anatosha ndio. The mzee asking me, what did he say? I told him exactly what I've been telling you all the time. You have been shortchanged. It may have been in the nishike mkono mzee because you could not see anything. The manner in which he was betrayed. When Kibaki came in, the Mount Kenya Mafia, I'm not going to talk about any Mount Kenya Mafia, but my good old friend Murungaru, Kiraitu, and all those who were around Kibaki did the same to him again, shortchanged him immediately. Immediately. Wewe kama unadanganya watu, na watu pia watakudanganya. So, as he says it, instantly the matter changed. And that's how many of us were taken in by the content of the Kilifi draft, which was bad, and Kenyans did not accept it. I was not fighting for Raila that time. I was fighting for myself and Kenyans.
Okay, let me ask you.
Can I just finish one bit? We came together again. As he puts it, Ruto had to do what he did because the people told him, you must go and join with ODM. You have to be with Raila. And he came on board. But being Ruto, the Ruto he is, by the way, I'm sure Kenyans know Ruto today. Ruto is a teetotaler to begin with, first of all. He doesn't drink. He can put in 18 hours a day. He will use every coin he can get his hands on, go and borrow, beg, and do everything and give out. So when the political class that were there, and a contestation between Ruto and Raila for attention, Ruto, there is nobody who is a match for Ruto in this country, I can assure you that. But of course, there are many people who are for ideological purposes and everything else. That's why his friends are with him. But having said that, I want to tell you one thing. This country has all along had an issue with elite machinations. I want us to get to one item right now which is close to the hearts of Kenyans and say, let us address this item devoid from the political interests of individuals. You get my point? When you say we're going to march into State House, the presumption is built that Raila is going to go and sit on that chair, and like in Sri Lanka, Ruto is going to be chased away. That can never happen. The closest it could have happened is 2013, when the nation was for Raila in a big way. This last election, in my opinion, was a very close election. All opinion polls, everybody, including foreigners, told us it was a close call.
Neck to neck.
Very close call. So when we come now and say that we got 3 million votes more, that only Ruto had only 5-point-something million and Raila had 8-point-something million. No. If they had said one had 7.9 something, the other one 8-point-something million, it's understandable. Or even say that we avoided a runoff through that corruption.
Thank you, Farah.
But the reality of the matter is that this election was very close to call. And then we went through a process. The process we went through is one in which courts addressed themselves to this. The courts ruled. We accepted the ruling. We said we are not happy with the ruling, but we accepted it. The natural process, in my opinion, in any democracy, is allow this person, give him a very long rope, let him go and hang himself.
Right.
And then come to Kenyans after 3 years or 4 years and tell them, listen, this is what he promised, this is what he promised.
Thank you.
These things were never
So you
delivered.
think it's pretty early?
It's,
Okay.
you know, to say Esther is my very good friend.
Okay.
Her father actually was a good friend of mine. Like, let me tell you one thing. Can you tell now Biden is messing America because he doesn't want to sit with Donald Trump? No. When you lose an election, you go and take a back seat and organize yourself. Don't try and come into running that system or that government through the back door.
So
you've lost.
Thank you, Farah.
So in my opinion, let us give this man ample time. Let us begin taking the stocks and then confront him by going to Kenyans and telling them, UDA promised this, UDA promised that. Now, which is the party that does not want to solve everything? How many parties are in Azimio?
Thank you, Farah. I need to hear from Esther Passaris as well. You agree that you should just let Ruto have his own news that will be tightening with time. If it comes out of a news successfully with developments and his promises that everything really runs smoothly as he promised, then that will be good for him. But if it doesn't, the news will be a chokehold on his neck.
Yeah, you see,
he'll cook his own goose.
Okay, democracy is a Greek word from demos, meaning people, and kratos, meaning power. All right. So the power is with the people. All right. So if I was Ruto, every time I saw the people's dialogue, and I saw the number of people that went there, he has to remember those are people that he is elected to serve, whether they voted for him, whether they voted for Raila, or whether they didn't vote. So those are the people that come to those rallies. They're coming because they're feeling hopeless right now. All right? So he has to, he comes from the nation of runners. He has to sprint to serve Kenyans. Sprint. He can no longer walk. He can no longer jog. He has to sprint.
Otherwise he loses.
Yes, otherwise he loses.
Esther,
because
why don't you wait until he loses?
With all due respect.
Yes.
Why don't you wait until he loses?
He has been sprinting to these areas.
Yes.
He's been sprinting to Nyanza.
No. Look, let me say something. Right now, the biggest questions, and to me, I'd be very happy that the opposition leader is actually highlighting the issues for me. The fact that the prices of food are hurting people, the fact that the students, the students right now, the university students are in dire need, all right? Help is not helping, all right? There's so many areas, so you have to, as a leader who wants to make sure that the country is stable, he wants to make sure that he delivers on his promises, he has to have his ear on the ground. And having your ear on the ground is to listen to everybody. All right. There is the community right now, the LGBTQI community, that we've been talking, and we're making this issue a religious issue. And at the end of the day, I look at what the judges did, right? The judges followed the law. They have a right of association. There is nothing wrong with it. So when you say we're going to counter it, we're going to do this, we're being populist. At the end of the day, we have a community of LGBTQI that lives in this country, that are amongst us. All right. And it's, as a president, it's not you can't discriminate against any of your citizens. And for me, I met the intersex community. They were registered as an association. The intersex families are right now under so much threat, and they have children who are born with both organs. And here we're putting all of them in one bracket. We've got transsexuals, people who are born male or female, and these are scientific issues. So I want to say that as a country, we have so many issues. We've got murders going on, GBV, people are dying on our roads. We've got no food. We've got a lot of issues. I saw recently Babu Owino saying that the students of law should be accepted in the school of law so that they can be able to study. We've got people who finish their education, can't get jobs right now because they owe university a certain amount of money. How can we find out how much money is owed by these students, give them soft loans, get their degrees so that they can go and get employment? There are so many problems to solve. So as a government, I think right now the last thing you want is to have people growing, the numbers growing in dialogues. Right? You have to be making sure that all those things that are being discussed in those dialogues are addressed. And we cannot ignore having an electoral process that works, because the power and the vote is with the people. And if the people choose to vote or not to vote, is a concern for any government.
The question that before we come to
how I wish,
yes,
how I wish all that the Honorable Esther Passaris has said were allowed the government of the day to run. How I wish that the dialogue. Remember, Raila and team began what they call citizen dialogue after they realized that the government was now settling down to progress and deliver for the people of Kenya. They began what they called citizens dialogue. They realized it was not getting the traction they wanted, because theirs is to seek for attention, theirs is to destabilize, theirs is to say, look, we want you to feel us. If it were possible then that we have this dialogue in a very sober manner, I'm very sure all those issues that my colleague has raised would be and are actually a subject of discussion in every government office. When the president moved to Luo Nyanza, he was not going there to politics. He went there, talked to the people of Nyanza, told them that I am the president of Kenya. I am not the president of those who voted for me alone. He launched a number of projects. He's never done those ones in my place, in Bomet County. When he came in for prayers, people were saying, look, you went to Luo Nyanza, you enlisted around 13 projects. Not because of anything, but because he knows that I have been elected to serve the people of Kenya. This demonstration, which is which we're waiting to see how it's going to happen, began as a reaction to the failed traction that Raila wanted when he began citizen dialogue. And he's lost on issues every other day. When the parties realized that he was not in for a good cause, people stepped back and said, look, I have been elected, I've got a contract with the people for 5 years, I must work to serve the people. I cannot wake up every morning to go to the streets, and I'm an elected leader. I'm very sure today, Honorable Passaris will make a very difficult decision, because she has said it, that she wants to serve the people of Nairobi, those who voted for her, those who did not vote for her, and those who did not vote at all. The only way they can be served is to make sure that you cooperate and work with the team that is in office, who have the resources. We all share those resources in Parliament, and out of which you go out of your way to serve the people. So when now political parties felt like Raila was not on the right trajectory to serve the people of Kenya, even as an opposition leader, they retreated. And we cannot, I've heard people saying, we've previously discussed this, that Ruto has bought all the MPs. And we had that conversation on this table. How can you buy an MP? How much does Honorable Passaris earn? She's capable of getting the purported 50,000, 100,000.
But when we talk about buying, it's purely metaphorical. It's not actually.
Actually, we're being now.
And if there is any consideration, then
no. When we say that, Dibal, we're being now. Let me not say selfish. We're being hypocritical. Raila, if not selfish, is a hypocrite. Those who are saying MPs have been bought are also not honest. You can't buy an MP. I mean, somebody who spent 50, 60, 100 million to campaign to get that seat cannot be given 100,000 to just dissolve this party.
But what we are doing, we've known also in Parliament,
Dibal,
how MPs,
I know.
They've been steamrolled with a measly 10,000 shillings to change.
No.
So you can't.
No, Dibal, no. Though I'm a one-timer, this is my first time. I'm not, yes, a first-timer, sorry. Yeah. I'll be, sorry, I'm a first-timer.
Putting a seal on yourself.
Of course,
he might end up in Senate or governor, who knows.
Yes. That is, I will defend MPs because they are honorable people. I mean, they are representing thousands and thousands of people. The conversation that goes out there of 10,000, 20,000 to buy them is not here nor there. The issue is, it is a decision that a leader will make and say, for me to serve the people, it will be easier. You can imagine if I'm not in talking terms with the Honorable Kikoto Akirwa, and I'm abusing him every morning in every conversation I have, and I would want to walk to his office tomorrow to tell him, you know what, facilitate a number of these projects for my people. I must make a decision at some point so that I have a rapport, I have a good relationship. Not that I'm being, bought by him. No, I would want to know that I have a relationship as a cabinet secretary, as a president, so that I can go and defend the interest of my people.
Thank you.
And so we will achieve that if we only permit the leadership who's been elected, whether MP, whether governor, whether women rep, to work with the government of the day.
Okay. Allow me just to get in touch with our reporter, Emmanuel To, who has now crossed over to KICC, just to give us also an indication and a flavor of what is happening on the ground. Earlier on, we saw people on a slow burn trying to pick up their day. All of them, albeit oblivious of the fact that there is a demonstration today. And so we are joined by Emmanuel To to just give us an update. Emmanuel To, good morning.
Good morning. The activity is still building up right now. We are at the KICC. This is where the Azimio Umoja, One Kenya supporters were told to assemble, and the police are trying to keep them at bay and just ask them to leave this place because, remember, the police had said that this event was not sanctioned and was not allowed to take place, and they're just here to try to talk to them and ask them to leave. And on the other side of the KICC, we have seen a barricade, and there's some, the police have actually cordoned off this area, including the Harambe Avenue, where they were supposed to also present their petition to President William Ruto if their move to State House is going to be unsuccessful, and they're just being pushed away from these areas.
Are they supposed to cordon off these areas?
And so we'll be watching to see whether that meeting that was supposed to start from here is going to be to continue. But we're here, and they're just trying to talk to them keenly and patiently to ask them to leave, and they are leaving actually to, of course, just give the police a chance to conduct the activities. And so there's some action now, and some of them are now being chased away by the police. This is along the KICC way next to Parliament Road. Remember, Parliament is one of the protected areas that is not allowed to be accessed by any individuals who are not authorized. And some of them have already, I think this gentleman has been now caught up, and he has to explain what he was doing here, and some of other supporters of Azimio who are supposed to join them right here. And so we are seeing there's a meeting that is currently ongoing at Jaramogi Odinga Foundation, where the Azimio Umoja leaders are currently converging and, of course, prepare for that meeting. Raila Odinga had told the supporters, or his supporters, to assemble right here and to also get a chance to begin that mass walk from here to State House. But currently there's no much of that activity, and the police are just dispersing some of the supporters who are coming here. So that is the much we have from here. We'll be moving to the other side of the city, and of course the other side of KICC to see how the activities are faring on the other side, as we also just crisscross the city to give you a feel of what is happening at Dibal.
Many thanks indeed, Emmanuel To, they're reporting from KICC, just giving you a feel and flavor there. As you can see, the security presence is very heavy there, heavily deployed. Parliament, as I said, is one of the restricted areas alongside State House, and we'll also be joining Jeff Kirui later in the day to just give us also an indication of what is happening on the other side of State House. That road has been cordoned off. And I think we were asking, should that be? Anyone, I mean, people are just going about their lives this morning, going to work. What happens if I have my office is alongside that building there, maybe BP Shell house, and you have to access through it? Because looking even at Harambe Avenue, all places have been cordoned off. Why would you do that? And then they're a bit segregative. Yeah, if you look a bit smart and if you look a bit shaggy, then there's an assumption that you're one of protesters. Is it Afara? Is it you?
Me.
It's actually Kipruto Raku. Then we prepare our headline thoughts, guys.
Okay.
Farah.
I have no intention of doing that.
We gave Farah an apple time. We gave him your time because it was very cathartic and therapeutic for you. I'm just saying this.
I've been around long enough. I'm the only one. Other than Julius Sonkuli and Gozirai, who were in the 7th Parliament were in this Parliament. Of course, the Speaker was there.
Very.
Yes.
Thank you.
So,
okay.
Kipruto.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will just begin with what you've just said, that your offices can easily be cordoned off by virtue of the security forces being there. And they're actually assisting us not to allow business to take place today. So indirectly, they're assisting the cause of demonstration. And I think this is good for the police to be doing that for us as a government in waiting. The second issue is that unless somebody has not been in this town, the president has started the campaign for 2027.
Already.
And we cannot just allow him just to have a walkover. You know, he started by, as I've said, cannibalizing on parties. He has moved now, he has gotten his campaign team. This 50 CAS is just a campaign machine, because I would have expected almost about 35 CAS, but now he has gone to 50. And when you look at the number and where they come from, he's trying to get, where he did not win a seat, he's trying to get somebody who will assist him to campaign in the intervening period. So all that said and done, the only reasonable thing is for us to be able to put the items as listed by the Honorable Raila on the table and hold him to account. These are issues he promised us, and these are issues that we must hold him to account, because at the end of the day, he has been given the mandate, and that mandate includes being responsible for the statements that he made in the run-up to the last election.
My final question, as we prepare also to wind up, is looking at the political capital of Raila Odinga. Is today's chopping block going to affect his political capital moving forward? Will it be a make or break for Raila if this does not really turn out the way he anticipated? Does it chip away? Briefly.
You know, I don't see whether, you know, there's been a lot of controversy around today, and I don't see the success or the failure of the demonstration, right, impacting on the influence that Raila has on this country and the people of Kenya. You know, and that influence, as I said, will continue growing as long as the government fails to deliver on its promises. It will only grow because, and Kenyans don't like government. Kenyans like opposition. Kenyans like opposition. They feed and hunger and rely on opposition. And that's why you saw when Ruto was opposing Uhuru, he gained a lot of popularity because he was then perceived as the opposition. So any government in place has to understand that Kenyans resonate with the opposition because they feel government lets them down. So already you're starting off with a relationship with the people you're supposed to serve on the point where the people feel they don't trust you to deliver. All right, so they are already leaning towards Raila even more than they were when we had the election. So I don't think that today can in any way determine the weakness or the strength of Raila. If anything, Raila's strength is sealed in stone. It's cast. His strength cannot be ignored by anyone, not just in Kenya, in the whole of Africa. He is an enigma, and he will remain an enigma for the people that support him.
Hillary.
You've asked a question as to whether today's demonstration, whichever way it goes, will dent Raila's political stature. And it definitely will. When you look at the yesteryears, the Raila of 1982 is not the Raila of 2022. That is when we become objective a fact. The Raila of 2002 and 2007 is not the Raila we have now. The support base that he had those days is no more. The leadership and the team that used to support his position at any given time, including demos, is not there anymore. And that is why we have a good number of leaders from Luo Nyanza, from Ukambani, from Coast, who are saying, we are tired. This is not the right way to go. this is not the right thing to do. Today's effort by Raila to showcase his might will dent him negatively, because Kenyans and the leadership that is in office right now say, let us focus on serving the people of Kenya. Let us focus on the economic condition of this country. Let us focus on the CBC that we are all struggling to manage the education sector. Let us focus on the instability in the north, where we've got cattle rustling, we've got the problems which are actually real problems. So right now, whatever by end of day, when you see that Raila will come with 5 leaders or 10 leaders supporting him and a host 50 plus youth who, remember, are going to at the end of the day serve individually, and that is what the CS internal security said yesterday and everyone else. And Dibal, when you read this document, the Constitution of Kenya, the relevant article that permits Raila to do what he's doing, that is Article 37. He has a right peacefully, unarmed, to assemble, demonstrate, picket, and present petitions to public authorities. That is his right. But at the same time, the same Constitution, and that is why I agree with Passaris when she says that she is a respecter of the law. Allow me to, let me just check article that also limits this freedom. 24. This right that he is granted under Article 37 to do what he has pushed to be done today says a right or fundamental freedom in the Bill of Rights shall not be limited. Shall not be limited. And then it is only exempted by a limitation by the law. The same Constitution. And I'll not read the rest of it. It says, I think it should be 24D. That says that limitation include need to ensure that the enjoyment of rights and fundamental freedoms by any individual does not prejudice the rights and fundamental freedoms of others. What we are trying to say is that if you want to demonstrate, which is given in the Constitution, do it the right way.
Thank you. Thank you.
So he will negatively suffer, and it is actually what I would call kicks of a dying horse.
Thank you.
He's exiting the political scene to allow new blood, the group of Esther Passaris and others who are still young, to lead the people of Kenya. If they're in opposition, they do it objectively.
All right, we've got 2 minutes, so let's share one. Farah, briefly, we are winding up.
1 minute.
I think, you see, you're making an assumption that Raila is going to be a presidential candidate come again 2027. He's going to be a presidential candidate.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Why then do you care about how popular he's going to be? Whether his popularity gets dented or goes to, down the drain, so it still blossoms to heights never seen before. Anyway, I personally believe that Raila will always run for as long as he has breath left in himself. He will run for elections. Now, having said that, I will wait to be seen, to be proven wrong. Having said that, Kenyans are coming off. They're becoming wiser now. And they're able to look at these things in a very systematic manner and say, what was the track record of these things? Where were we and where are we now? What are we being told to do? And I think as an opposition, as Azimio, I'm in Azimio for information. I'm not in KK. As Azimio, we
Azimio, but an apologist.
No.
It's no more Azimio, by the way.
It's a member, but it's like an apologist. Okay, we are winding up. I know that will be another debate.
I am.
Azimio is dead.
My party is okay. You're right. But my party is Wiper.
Yes.
On a full my own volition, and I can come in any party.
Thank you.
You get my point?
Yeah.
I can come in any party as independent. As I was in ODM before. I was in 3 different. You know what I mean?
We need to wind
three
up.
Different parties.
Yes. Farah, we need to wind up.
Now let me just explain to you.
No. I have no time for explanation, please.
Yeah, but you give me a moment to wind up. Can I wind up?
Yeah, wind up. Within a minute.
Can I wind up?
Because also I'm being hounded out of studio. I'm under pressure myself as well.
I think Kenya is going to be a different country in the shortest possible time, because everybody is going to get wiser and there are going to be some serious analysis and calculations. As for this government, personally, I would give them the benefit of doubt and tell them, okay, this is a rope. Whether they hang themselves or they come out of it victorious, they have an opportunity.
Thank you.
Ruto is a young man now.
Thank you.
He's there in the presidency for the first time. You see what I mean? Let us see what he does.
Thank you. Thank you.
If he performs, good, good for him. If he fails to perform,
Asante.
He will be also.
All right. A minute.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dibag. I think I'm happy by the I'm happy given the fact that